Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on the opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
What? 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 Really? Really? You sit down with George Stephanopoulos, you get these questions. All of this stuff has surrounded your presidency since day one. Here's one thing about Trump. You're going to get a straight answer from him. You could talk about, we need more trans. You know what? Just look at him. He's going to tell you what he's thinking. He's going to tell you what he's going to do. Right? He's like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, you say, I'm just going to come in the ring. I'm going to come straight at you. I'm going to punch you. Right? That's what Trump says. Here, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm okay with it. Right? Now, people on the right are like, you're taking it and blowing out of the proportions. Some people. Not everybody. I found this to just be ridiculous. And I said yesterday, as some of these things were being leaked, look, a foreign power comes to you, right? And it doesn't have to be a foreign power. It can be somebody who is a foreign national that says, I've got information. Okay, well, first of all, you got to listen, see what they have to say as far as that way we can tell the FBI, right? We're going to call the FBI. We get this information. You know, you're going to take a peek at it, right? And if there's something useful, it's not like you're going to not look at it. You're going to look at it, right? You're going to look at it. And you may even call the FBI. Doesn't mean you won't use some of the stuff. I'm just saying, we all know that. Most politicians would. But you know what most politicians wouldn't say? Like the rest of every politician, say it out loud. That's what he did. And everybody's hammering him for it. And you know what? I have no idea what the hell he was thinking.
That's not the right answer. If a foreign government comes to you as a public official and offers to help your campaign, giving you anything of value, whether it be money or information on your opponent, the right answer is no.
Yeah, that is the right answer. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is the right answer. Look, the left and the media love it. I'm sick of talking about all of this kind of stuff. There's so many other things that we should be looking at, talking about, discussing. But how do you not talk about this? You've got a president who just went through the Mueller report, right? Survived that, but there's still questions by the left who really don't like him. I mean, take away let's be honest for a second. Take away any of the Russia stuff. Let's say none of that stuff had ever happened. They still want him gone. They can't stand who he is as a human being, is what it is. All right. But you got through that. And now you sit down with George Stephanopoulos and he asks you a question, right? And we played just a couple clips. And you were like, I might listen. I never called the FBI either. I mean, he went on to say that, but I've never called the FBI. I know too many people who have. But it is very it's surreal. It's like, what the hell are you thinking? Now, maybe everybody already thinks, well, you're going to do that anyways. So what the hell? You've already convicted me for it. So I might as well be honest about it. But you just shake your head. You do. You shake your head and you say to yourself, good God, what in God's name are you thinking? Really? Honestly?
You don't call the FBI. You throw somebody out of your office. You do whatever you do.
Al Gore got a stolen briefing book. He called the FBI.
Well, that's different. A stolen briefing book. This isn't a stolen. This is somebody that said, we have information on your opponent. Oh, let me call the FBI. Give me a break. Life doesn't work that way.
The FBI director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
Well, that's what should happen. Doesn't mean it's going to. And let's be real. While I hammer Trump for saying this, the reality is at least he's honest. You know where he's coming from. Second, and this is most important, don't think that other countries don't want certain people to be leaders in other countries. You know that. The Republicans want Netanyahu over somebody else. That is the reality of it. Obama helped the opposition party. Maybe not with information, but there was a party to play when he was running for re-election against Netanyahu. Somebody was running against Netanyahu. I forgot who it was. Listen, it's not like we of course we do. But you're saying it. You've been through it. You say it. You give more ammunition. You give more fuel to the fire. And that's not something you want to do. It isn't. But I get it. And look, we also know this about Trump. He loves to troll. He trolls both online and in person. He loves to troll. And I understand. Look, somebody offers you opposition, right? They're giving you some oppo, right? Some research. Even if you call the FBI, you're going to go through the whole damn thing, right? And if there's stuff that's useful in there, you know you're going to use it. Politicians will do that because they're about winning. They're about their fiefdoms. I said it earlier today. I was on a show earlier today, and I said, be honest with you, Hillary Clinton eat her first kid and her only kid if she thought she could be president. Chad, no, yeah. Doesn't mean that you wouldn't call the FBI. That's my issue. Yeah, take a look at it and then call the FBI. But you give more ammunition where you didn't need to. And it's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating. Thing I do find interesting, and we hear about how horrible he is to the media, which he is. They're not the enemy of the people, all of that stuff that drives me crazy when he says those kind of things. But he is out there in more ways than anybody else, and he'll sit down with just about anybody at all and have a conversation.
Surreal, to tell you the truth. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of presidents. I've worked in the White House. I can't believe that we got the kind of access we got over 2 days, interviews inside the presidential limo, on Air Force One, in the Oval Office, in the residence, outside the grounds of the White House as well. The president was extraordinarily generous with his time.
Yeah, he was. And you've heard that over and over again. He likes the battle, and for him, it's just part and parcel of doing business, the battle, right? That's the playing field. We're going to battle each other. It's part and parcel of it. I'm going to hit you. You're going to hit me. We're going to do our things. I don't hold anything personal. We're going to move on. Look, politicians, they lie. They lie to your face all the time. It's how big is the lie? How much do you believe it? My God, the insanity of some of the things that they say and that they get passes on. Joe Biden, I'm going to cure cancer. Okay. You know, those kind of things. We just sit there and laugh. This, he gives you who he is right in front of you. He tells you what it's all about. He doesn't hold back. But sometimes you think to yourself, what are you doing, bro? Just, FYI, right? Don't go OJ, right? You got away with something, some people think. And then the next thing you know, you're in a room full of, people, and there's your old Heisman Trophy and a couple helmets, and somebody's brought a gun, and you're doing 15 years for something you should have done 6 months for, kind of thing. That's all I'm saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Hope all is well. Today, there were issues in the Strait of Hormuz in the Gulf.
These attacks may appear directed at the countries that use them to export petrochemicals or at the international owners of the vessels. But the fact is they threaten the very underpinnings of the global trading system and customary law of the sea that ensures freedom of transit on the seas.
So one tanker was torpedoed, another one was bombed. There are issues there that when people wonder why, because right now we're in a situation where we're going to be selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, right? Saudi Arabia. Just their record on human rights is so awful. Like the Ebola virus has a better record on human rights than Saudi Arabia. People are like, we shouldn't do this. Look what they did to, Khashoggi, and look at all. Yeah, I get it. It's awful. But everybody knows who did this today. Everybody understands who did this. Iran is fighting de facto wars in Yemen and in several other places. They're looking to spread their tentacles, which, by the way, their human rights, not very good either. So let's be real here. We don't want to be there, but do we have to be there? We need some friends in the region. Saudi Arabia is the what? This is the best of the bad ideas we have because they're also mortal enemies of Iran. It's an ugly situation. It is. And as talking to my producer earlier, producer Anthony, nobody wins, right? No president or politician wins in the Middle East. Your whole thing is, for the time that I'm president, for the time that I'm Secretary of State, I would like to get out of here without major thermonuclear war happening. Like, that's the best thing you have. And you have to make awful choices, right? Of death by poison, if you will, or the guillotine. It's either way, it's just awful. But today was another situation where you look and you go, as much as I don't want Saudi to have any of our weapons because of the way that they are, and I just can't stand who they are from 9/11 all the way to here. At the same time, I look over there and I know one group is still continuing to push for nuclear weapons despite no matter what's on a piece of paper, no matter what's said, none of that. They're still trying to do so many things. They're the biggest state sponsor of terror in the world, and they're trying to get their tentacles out there further and further. And what may stop them? A bizarre alliance of us selling some weapons to Saudi Arabia, who's getting information from Israel, their other mortal enemies, all because in the end, there's one group out there that's worse. It's horrible. Death by poison or guillotine. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful day. It's always beautiful, right? You wake up, it's beautiful. It's a wonderful day. Like, you're always in the lead. Last night, like, this just should show you how you're never out of it. Last night, I watched the end. Producer Phil and I were texting back and forth of the hockey game and the Stanley Cup Finals last night, Game 7. St. Louis Blues won last night. And this should give you inspiration. January 5th of this year, they were the worst team, not in their conference, not in their division, but in the NHL. They had a 25-year-old rookie goalkeeper they called up. And between now and January 5th, they have gone from to champions out of nowhere. That's crazy. Like, that should give you inspiration. Go, yeah, anything can happen. Unless you're Thailand. You got no chance. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. What do you think of Trump's, what do you think of what he said? I mean, it's, again, the people on the left, you already believe all those things. It's double jeopardy for you, for him, right? And the people on the right, you're trying to figure out a way to say, I saw it. Talked to a lot of people today. They were just like, I can't believe he said that. It may be true, but still. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It is June. You are looking at your credit card debt and you're saying, I have not paid off any of it. In fact, I've added to it, and it's mostly because your APR is through the roof. Average APR, 19%. Let's get rid of that. Let's pay that down. Let's get a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream. How about this? Loans from as low as 5.95% APR with autopay. Boom! No fees. You can even get your money as early as the same day. What are you waiting for? Let's start paying that stuff off. Let's do it right now. For my listeners, that's you guys out there, special interest rate discount. Now, the only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/Benson, lightstream.com/Benson. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% autopay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offers subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson, Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
We've been through a lot together, and she's tough, but she's good. You also have tough and bad, right? She's tough and she's good. She's great. And she's going to be leaving the service of her country.
Yep. Sarah Huckabee Sanders said a while ago, 3.5 years is enough. I don't care who the president is. Could be the greatest White House ever. That job, like many jobs, is great for the resume, but there's a sell-by date. And working for this president, the sell-by date usually comes quicker. She was with him for 3.5 years. She was with him pre-president, so through the campaign. So that's pretty amazing that she lasted this long. Because, again, that job right there, it's a tough-ass job. And for her, you ramp that up by 1,000 based on just the chaos that follows around the president and the media and all of it together.
She is going to be going, I guess you could say private sector, but I hope she comes from a great state, Arkansas. That was a state I won by a lot, so I like it, right? But we love Arkansas, and she's going to be going back to Arkansas with her great family. Her husband is a fantastic guy, and her family.
Yeah. So she's doing what everybody tends to do. Producer Phil, what do they do when they leave? What are they going to do?
Spend more time with their family.
But let's see. Let's see what the survey said.
It's truly the most special experience. The only one I can think of that might top it just a little bit is the fact that I'm a mom. I have 3 amazing kids, and I'm going to spend a little more time with them.
Oh, look at that. Pill. Let's see, Pill, how much did you wager? Oh, fantastic. Spending more time with the family, kids. Who's the new spin doctor for the president? We're taking bets here. We're here to mooch. I'd love to bring the mooch back. It's not going to be the mooch, but how awesome would that be? Lewandowski? No. Who else could be it? Who do you think? Who's on Fox right now that needs a gig? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Jeez, Chad. Such a jerk. Say that about Fox. Hannity? Oh, my Lord. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Universal basic income. We're going to touch on that. Saggy pants. Keanu Reeves. Oh, kids, we're just getting started. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
There are 24 people right now seeking the Democratic presidential nomination, and really you've just got a handful who are registering at all in the polls right now. I think one of the things we've seen the first 6 months of this year is there's been such a logjam. There have been so many candidates. It's actually been very difficult for anybody to break through outside of that top group. Buttigieg got in there. Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden.
All right. So next, what are we like? We're 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away, actually 13 days away from the first Democratic debate. 20 of them have made the stage, including, was it Marianne Williamson? she's like a self-help author, and she made it, right? She made the stage. So 20. Could you imagine if you're a politician and you did make the stage, like how bad you are at this? How bad? So 4 did not out of the 24 make it, but pretty much everybody else did. So I have no idea how they're going to break it up. I mean, I'm looking because we got 2 nights, right, that it's going to take place. So you have 2 nights where you're going to have this run, through this gauntlet of debate. I don't know how it works as far as, because NBC, MSNBC, and Telemundo are going to host the debates, right? So, and those are going to be prime time, by the way. So, and this is supposedly how you qualify. You have to register at 1% in 3 surveys or receive 65,000 individual donations. 65,000. Candidates who appear on stage will get primetime television exposure, but it could be difficult to stand out in the crowded field, they say. 10 will appear in each debate. How they've broken that up yet, I do not know. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see. It's a rodeo circus. It's a clown rodeo, crazy, wild circus of lunacy. I don't get how. Just like you know what? If you learn anything from Trump, right? You can have a disdain for Trump, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm not going to debate that anymore. It's getting old. If you learn anything, stand out. Get out there early. Get out there loud. Make yourself known and heard, and separate yourself from the pack quick. Because we like to watch people that are interesting. And that was Trump's big thing. He became must-see television during these debates, right? He even threatened, like, I don't know if I want to do it, because he knew, hey, they're making money off me. They're doing all this. He became absolute must-see TV. So you better figure something out. I don't know if Biden's got it in him or not. Marianne Williamson, Tulsi Gabbard. Who's going to be it? Who's going to be the one that surprises? I'm going to say this, guys, right now. I'm a Hickenlooper. Right? Doesn't that sound like something you caught? Did you hear what happened? Yeah. Steve was diagnosed with Hickenlooper's disease. What's that? It's a disease of common sense. I like Hickenlooper. I'm a Hickenlooper. Right? I'm going to go with that. Buttigieg, is he going to stand out? Like, think about it. You've got 10 people each night. What are the debates? 2 hours long? 3 hours long, maybe? I have no idea. How much time do you get to answer your question? The rebuttal? We'll see. I think they should have had a higher threshold. And is anybody going to surprise? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet about it. You've got Andrew Yang, right? You got the Yang dog. I didn't see him on here. But one of the things they're going to be talking about, and people are tossing the idea around, is a thing that I like to call insanity, which is the universal basic income. And Andrew Yang, that's like his only platform. Like a few of these people that are running, they have a platform. There's nothing else. And in many ways, they're using this platform that they have, right, this one singular opportunity in primetime television to shoot out the platform, whether it's global warming or whatever it is. And universal basic income is something that they're going to be talking about over and over again. You're going to hear it from a lot of people. Bernie, oddly enough, for as far left as he's going, he's not quite there yet. Andrew Yang, Tlaib, who is really pushing it this week in this cash payout and these universal basic income. I think Andrew Yang this week went to Iowa and gave one family, essentially, going to give them $1,000 a month, right? $1,000 a month. And it's interesting, right? It's interesting. It all sounds great. But the reality is it's not. It will benefit people. You know, the funny thing is, who's it going to benefit the most? People who do okay. That's who it's going to benefit the most. Because the way that a lot of the structure is being laid out is you get $1,000. And Andrew Yang's big thing is you get $1,000, everybody does. But if you get $700 in benefits, food stamps, whatever it is, you only get $300. For somebody who doesn't get anything, you get $1,000. Oh, Dan Crenshaw talked about Tlaib because she's also pushing it this week.
It's a misunderstanding of basic economics and also human nature. Okay, so it's a misunderstanding of economics because, one, we always have to ask the question, how are we going to pay for it? Are we going to put our children in even more debt? Are we going to raise taxes on somebody else? We already have one of the most progressive tax systems in the entire world. But it also doesn't make sense because it basically entices people not to work. Okay, if you're making $49,000 a year, then you're going to have an incentive not to take that extra job or extra promotion because you're going to lose your benefits. It is not a smart or efficient way to do welfare policy.
No, it's not. It's not. And, everybody wants to point to Alaska and oil. You get like $2,000 a year, $1,000. It's not like you get $1,000 a month, right? You get a little stipend there. This would be $1,000 a month. What some people are pushing is just, here's your money. Now, some people have gone to the point where, and Andrew Yang's really been pushing this, and he's an interesting character. Good guy, very smart guy. And his whole thing is, look, we're going to give you this, but we're not giving you this on top of. So when you think about it, not getting on top of, somebody like me who doesn't get government assistance, any of those kind of things, that extra $1,000 a month, I'll invest it. I'll do other things with it. Somebody who's struggling, you're going to get an extra $300 a month, $300 a month, maybe. Right? You're going to get, and for a lot of people, if you start adding up what it costs and the benefits you get, you may get nothing. So really what you're doing is you're giving people who already do okay an extra $1,000 a month. Now you're taking from them because the way you want to do it is value added tax. You're going to raise, not only are you going to raise personal income tax, you're also going to raise taxes on what? Value added tax, taxes on goods across the board. Who does that hurt the most? Somebody who does well or somebody who's already struggling? Oh, yeah. Never thought about that. They're going to pay more of their income and the money that comes into them than somebody that does okay.
A better way is earn income tax credits or work requirements for able-bodied people to receive welfare that encourages them to actually get a job and to keep working and to promote themselves, okay, to actually be self-reliant. So that would be the moral thing to do.
Yeah, well, again, we live in a world now where you've got people who are promising you a house, people who are promising you a job, people who are promising you the cure for cancer, people that they're telling you these are the things. We're going to give you free medical, free school, free house, a job, and one of them said he may even cure cancer. Like, that's insane. I still find that just to be, and then what was it, Joy Behar said, well, he may find the cure for cancer, but it's going to be tough because of global warming. Global warming for the last 2 days, global warming has been blamed for the rise in home runs in baseball and the fact that now Joe Biden cannot cure cancer. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. I just find it insane. We should be not looking at handing out money. We should be looking to, and especially when you look about how much money we're spending. And now you want to add more to that. And even though it's not what some people say as far as the amount, it's still going to be an extra $500 billion to $1 trillion a year. That's insane. That is insane. And when you start to break it down, when it comes to that VAT, that value-added tax, that is really where I don't think people understand. It is going to cost you 10, 20, 30% more, who knows what, on certain goods. So you're taking money from somebody to pay yourself and to pay somebody else. It's like a bad Ponzi scheme that's worse than Social Security. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Oh, baby. No touchy, no touchy. Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, he's been a star for decades. But now the internet has found a new reason to put him in the spotlight. He's posing with women without actually touching them. The first fan to point it out joked, quote, Keanu ain't taking no chances, a likely reference to the Me Too movement, kind of, although that shouldn't be seen as a negative thing inherently. D. Lemon, is this about Reeves being hyper PC? Is he afraid of Me Too? Or is he just being respectful?
He's a douche, right? He's just kind of he's an idiot? A little bit? D. Lemon. Oh, it shouldn't be a bad thing. Just such a, okay. But the funny thing is, D. Lemon gives him an answer I don't think he expected.
I think it's the first. I think it's, it's tough to say, but I do think that there are people who will approach you and set you up or realize later that they can get some money from you or harm your career. And I think that he's being careful. I worry about it. You don't?
What? You worry about it, Don? Yeah. I think anybody who's in the spotlight now worries about it. We talked about this, I think, a couple times over the last couple weeks. CEOs and upper management, men, do not want to be in situations where women, where they're alone, travel with women, and most importantly, do not want to mentor women anymore because of fear. That is not a good thing. That is a very bad thing. You ask any CEO, you ask any business person, small business, somebody out there that's been any kind of success, they're going to tell you one of the biggest things is a mentor. I have a mentor. I have a few of them. I understand that. Keanu Reeves is a big star. He has seen what's happened. And I think he's just like, he may say, I want to be respectful, but there's something out there in the back of everybody's mind who's a star now, having seen the likes of several people who, they're digging up pictures from 10, 12, 15 years ago saying, this person touched my butt during a picture, this, that, and the other. And they're saying, you know what? I want no part of that. I want no part of that because what do you have to gain? I'll put shoulder to shoulder to you and you could take a picture of me and we'll move on.
I do worry about people doing things that are wrong. I don't worry about Me Too because I see Me Too as a good thing. I know you do also. The idea of the reason we needed it, the reason you need political correctness in general.
I'm not talking about the real allegations.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is we need those things because for too long things have gone unanswered and people have been silenced and victimized. But you do have the opposite extreme of that of people seeing it as an opportunity.
And they will. Again, and they will. And in this day and age, an accusation, right? And you're sitting there thinking, I'm going to have to pay somebody off. This could potentially, it doesn't matter. There's no win in it for him. You know what you're going to get from now on? You're going to get autographs. Back to the boring autographs. Oh, man.
I commend him because what he's doing is lowering the possibility of a false allegation, which would diminish the importance of the real allegations, the people who come forward with legitimate allegations.
That's good. Good take.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing that he's doing, whether he's doing it because he doesn't like to touch people or he doesn't want to be part of that, because even just an allegation can be career ending.
Yeah, can be. Absolutely. And there are people out there that are just like Howie Mandel. Do not get anywhere near Howie Mandel. Do not touch Howie Mandel. Right? He's very OCD. Don't touch him. I get that. I just think it's in this day and age, it's just better to play it safe than sorry, right? Absolutely. Play it safe than sorry. And let everybody think, hey, it's because you're all of these things, but the reality is I just think there's a fear factor out there, and that is that's translating over into the business world, into other places where men are now afraid to do things that need to be done to help improve and the workforce and to also move women forward. But they're afraid, and I understand that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Saggy pants.
Shreveport, Louisiana was one of the first cities to mandate that pants be pulled up above the waistband. Supporters insisted that it wasn't about race, but about public decency. Lester Smith, who has two sons, says it hasn't worked out that way.
I don't care how you slice it or dice it. It affects black people, black boys.
The Shreveport Police Department says that in 12 years of enforcement, 96% of those ticketed for sagging pants were black men. Now,
Ordinance 7 amends Chapter 50 of the Code by
Shreveport has repealed its ordinance on sagging.
Good. I understand. Look, you want people to dress better in the whole 9 yards. I get that. But in the end, it was such an out of balance thing. And good. Now, I think if your entire ass is showing, that's one thing, right? We can have I think we can have a discussion about that, right? We definitely have a discussion about that. But you know what? It's a thing. It's like, it's people do it. Pants sagging, I know now, what is it? The ladies, they've got the high-waisted jeans, right? They're going all back to the 90s. It's a little bit high-waisted jeans, right? But we were talking about, like, okay, what were some of the things that were probably, over the last decade or two, you had Daisy Dukes, you had the thong. I understand that you're trying to do something because you think it's going to help, but that one missed the mark. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody just text in. You can text the program always about, like, he goes basically about, we just gave billionaires and millionaires tax cuts. One of my good friends is more than well-to-do. He is the top 1/10 of 1% kind of thing as far as earnings go. And he says, those tax cuts, everybody talks about it. It's not what everybody thinks it is. He goes, the reality is, it just made it easier for my tax person to do what they have to do. There you go. That's the reality of it right there. You could have raised rich people's taxes to 70%, and they're still going to, what? Pay the exact same thing what they're doing now. Life's not going to change. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from you. It's Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
Sorry, it's just because you can say something, just because it may even be true, right? I still think that anybody who's running against somebody and they have a chance to get information would take it. Does it mean that they're going to keep it complete secret? No, I think a majority of them would call the FBI or do the things they're supposed to do. In saying that, I still think they're going to check out the information, but you want to get away from the asterisk next to your name, right? You want to get away from the asterisk next to your name that you're not a legitimate president. This is not the way to go about doing it. Then on top of that, you double down this afternoon and say, yeah, I'm serious. I talk to foreign countries all the time. That's just not what you say. I got to be honest with you. It is not what you say. It isn't. It's not what you do, but we know it. Look, I was talking about this yesterday. You want to see some of the dirtiest, cheapest, low-down things you've seen? Local politics is brutal. It's far worse, right? I look at politics like this kind of politics is MMA, right? Local politics is backyard brawls, Kimbo Slice style. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of just like, hey, I put some quarters in my hands, kind of thing. Like that's what local politics, and it gets ugly. Now, is it foreign? No, but they're all ugly, and so you're always looking for oppo research. This, though, I mean, you don't say something like this was not the answer, right? Not the answer.
That's not the right answer. If a foreign government comes to you as a public official and offers to help your campaign, giving you anything of value, whether it be money or information on your opponent, the right answer is no.
Lindsey Graham, that's the right answer is no, right? What's the wrong answer? What's the wrong answer? We've done this before, right? Let's go through this again. Right answer is anything but yes. I'll listen and I'll talk to them. Anything. You can say hot dog, right? You can say, hey, I like parrots, right? You could say that. You could say anything but, yeah, I'd listen to them. Chad, you're not being very nice. No, I'm being honest. And again, just because you may actually, the beauty of Trump is you're going to get honesty. That's great. The negative at times is you're going to get honesty. People will show you who they are. And I don't think Trump thinks that there's nothing wrong with what I said or did. Nothing. And I will say, and I've said it on numerous occasions, Hillary Clinton would have done the same damn thing if she thought she could be in the White House right this second. Do you think she wouldn't have? It's like somehow they've got magical scruples. Like, oh, no. This is where I draw the line. She'd eat Chelsea Clinton at birth if she thought she could be president one day. Chad, it's honest. It is. Politicians want to keep their fiefdoms. They want to win. Doesn't make it right. But you're inviting more trouble. And I just look and I said to myself, ugh. And then he doubled down on it today. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Maybe that's why she's decided to bounce.
We've been through a lot together, and she's tough, but she's good. You know, you also have tough and bad, right? She's tough and she's good. She's great. And she's going to be leaving the service of her country.
Yeah. Sarah Huckabee Sanders has said, I'm out. I've had enough. I've done what I've been here 3.5 years. I mean, that's a record for the Trump administration. That is a record for it. Like, I can't even remember who else. I don't know how long Kellyanne Conway is, and she's got enough troubles right now. They're going after her with the Hatch Act, and but when you think about it, like her and Sarah, like that's it. Like those are his angels, like Charlie's Angels, right? So I don't know what's going to happen, but she's outie, and every one of these jobs, even in the most boring, calm presidency, has a sell-by date because the fact is they're long jobs, they're tedious jobs, you travel, you're never home, you're doing this, you're doing all of these things, and you're taking a ton of criticism because even during the best administration and a liked administration, you're going to have your critics. Now ramp that up 1,000% in the modern era and then ramp that up by 1,000,000 because you are Trump's press secretary. That is got to be just absolutely exhausting. It is. But the one thing that I think differs from her than a lot of other people that have left in the way that they've left is much like even the Mooch, right? And we've had the Mooch on and Corey and stuff like that. Lewandowski is she not going anywhere as far as her support. She's not writing a book tomorrow to say all these horrible things.
In the meantime, I'm going to continue to be one of the most outspoken and loyal supporters of the president and his agenda. And I know he's going to have an incredible 6 more years and get a whole lot more done.
Yeah. We'll see. Don't know. That's what 2020 is about. Possibility is there that he gets another 4. Possibility is he may not win, right? But I think she did that's the toughest job. And I want to see who's going to invite her on. Like, because normally you leave, right? And all the night shows and everything else, they're going to invite you on. But I don't think she's going to spill anything that they're going to want to get to. So, and she doesn't seem like the person. She may write a book, and I bet you if she does, that book is going to be more positive about Trump than any other book that's come out. And she's going to give rebuttals that maybe she didn't give before and tell some truths that maybe were held behind, as far as they're concerned. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Drug deaths, kids. Drugs. Yesterday, we talked about the fact that in the Global Peace Index, we are behind Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras for a lot of different reasons. And they look at deaths and guns and this global warming, the whole 9 yards. And it's interesting to see that there's a whole bunch of things that are inside this index that make up this. And one of them is violence, and violence comes through drugs. And the reality is drugs here are just taking over in a way that we haven't seen in a long time. And that includes the fentanyl and the opioid crisis. And it is ugly.
The opioid epidemic is a major contributor to a 400% increase in the number of drug-related deaths among Americans aged 18 to 34 from 1999 to 2017. In that period, opioid overdose deaths increased by more than 500%, while deaths from synthetic opioids like fentanyl climbed by 6,000%. Many of the people affected were millennials, and the study found they have elevated risk factors, making them more likely to engage in riskier behavior.
Yeah, in fact, they are struggling right now. The millennial world is having a real tough time. They're coming out with massive debt out of college. They feel like they don't have any prospects whatsoever. They are struggling as far as relationships go. They're struggling because social media has put pressure on them like nothing we've ever seen. There's just a lot of issues, and they're turning to other things. And drugs are one of them, and it's tough. It sucks right now in some ways to be young. I think we can look back at the greatest generation, right? And you look back at the baby boomers and Gen X, which I come from. I continue to say that while the smallest of the generations, the Gen X, right? We accomplished some things, but we had it the best because we know what it's like in the greatest generation, if you will, right? Because our grandmothers and grandfathers were around, and the baby boomers, and we had some of that 70s parenting and 80s parenting. We also know about the new world and the modern world we lived in, and we created a lot of that stuff. It was very interesting. And the millennials, it sucks. I mean, I have a 9-year-old. Jack's 9 years old today. My son is 9 years old today. And I look at him and I think, okay, what pressures is he going to face in the future that we're not seeing at this moment in time? That we are not, because there's going to be new pressures that we can't even imagine. And there's also going to be great benefits as well. And I still think that social media plays such a massive role in a lot of this depression and the keeping up with the Joneses and all of these things. It absolutely does. There's a lot of great benefits to it, and there's a lot of negative that is associated with it. And if you're in a situation where you struggle anyways, or the world's been handed to you on a plate and you've never faced obstacles because mom and dad have lawnmowed down any of the obstacles before you, and you get out there and you find some obstacles, you feel frustrated, mom and dad let you quit everything. Yeah, I could see why they struggle. Did you see that another interesting thing is advertisers have said, yeah, we focused way too much on millennials. They don't have any money and they don't spend. And we spend a lot of time listening to them. We spend a lot of time trying to build brands and certain things for them, both culturally as well as the hipness and coolness. And we probably missed out. I'm like, whoa, yeah. Okay. What do you want? That sweet spot is 30 to 54, right? 35 to 54, 35 to 62. That's your area. People spend money and they have disposable income. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Check out the Instagram as well. At Chad Benson Show is your Instagram. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
You're just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Almost half of parents give their kids an allowance, but a growing number don't pay it in cash, opting instead for prepaid debit cards, or they use mobile payment systems like Venmo.
We need to teach kids about credit cards, debit cards, mobile payments.
Creditcards.com's Ted Rossman says it's a good move.
It's easy to swipe a card, but you got to teach kids that there's real money behind that.
He likes to load allowances on cards that are created just for kids, and he says these are a few that you should check out.
Greenlight, Current, and Go Henry.
Yeah, I give Jack an allowance. And sometimes he'll work extra, the kids work extra for, hey, can I get this or that? Hey, I'm on board with that. I love that. That's, like overtime. I like the cash thing because when you have cash, as you know, it's a little bit harder to spend. There's something very sterile about just walking in and swiping something because you don't see it actually leave your wallet, right? Or take it out of your hand. So it's a much different thing. And I think it's good to teach them along the way. A little bit of cash, a little bit of this. Show them. It's so weird though. Like how old? Like when does a kid get the card? That's my thing. Like what's that age? Jack always. I don't know. And if you're a parent, you know this, right? Your kid always has money because you're going to give him some money, right? And what do? Whenever you go somewhere, well, I didn't bring my money because I want to spend it. Oh, okay. Oh, so you want me to spend my money on your stuff? Yeah, I'd like that. If you could, Dad, I'll pay you back. You'll never pay me back. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. A lot of people are texting in about Trump and this entire situation with him and what he said earlier. Yesterday. He spent 2 days with George Stephanopoulos, who, by the way, people are saying, well, Stephanopoulos set him up. No, Trump, you don't have to set Trump up. Trump's going to tell you what he thinks. You don't have to set him up. And one thing I found to be interesting is what Stephanopoulos said and how shocked he was about dealing with the president.
Surreal, to tell you the truth. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of presidents. I've worked in the White House. I can't believe that we got the kind of access we got over 2 days, interviews inside the presidential limo, on Air Force One, in the Oval Office, in the residence, outside the grounds of the White House as well. The president was extraordinarily generous with his time.
Yeah. Seems to be extremely generous with his time. Talks about what he wants to do with Air Force One. He wants to change it up a little bit. Like, we were joking earlier. It puts a big T on top of it or something. It's like, okay, slow your roll. We're going to keep it the way it is. We appreciate it. We're just going to keep it the way it is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Last night, St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup. Tonight, Toronto has a second shot at closing out the NBA Finals. This time, without KD and the drama and the injury around him. But it's also at Golden State, where they've won 2 games against Golden State. Can they keep up the momentum, Golden State, though?
This first 24 hours is not much you can say in terms of him going through the process, figuring out how the extent of the injury and what the roadmap's going to look like coming back. But I don't think much needs to be said about the motivation that we have or are going to have tomorrow. Like Clay said, to protect our home court, feed off our crowd's energy, play for K, and try to keep our season alive. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can kind of tap into for energy tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, though, if you're Toronto, man, little nerves, just a smidge. Is there an inkling of something that has trickled in? You've won 2 here, though. But they never thought they were going to see Golden State again at the Oracle, and they're going to see it again tonight. And you'd think to yourself, I don't want to have a Game 7. I don't want any part of that. Even if they are injured and hurt, no way do I want a Game 7 at all. Going to be very interesting. If they can weather the storm early tonight, I think Toronto takes them out. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Bernie Sanders is trying to define socialism and his thing. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You say you want a revolution.
Oh, revolution's coming. Bernie's out there. Bernie has now gotten to the point where he's having to go on everywhere and explain his version of democratic socialism, right? Because I even said the more I watch him, the more I'm like, okay, he's now trying to create another lane that's left of the lane that was already really left because that lane has gotten really busy. So he's getting off and finding a new route. And my question with a lot of them is, okay, all of these things sound great. When I hear you, your sound bites out there. You say the same thing over and over. Does not matter where you are, what time of day it is. When you give a speech, we know exactly what you're going to say. You are a broken record. Okay, fine. Now let's figure out how we get there to implement your ideas. But Bernie was on last night with Anderson Cooper because he's everywhere trying to explain his socialism, and he goes through the usual.
But I suspect that a lot of people in this country would be delighted to pay more in taxes if they had comprehensive health care as a human right. I live 50 miles away from the Canadian border. You go to the doctor anytime you want. You don't take out your wallet. You have heart surgery. You have a heart transplant. You come out of the hospital. It costs you nothing. Your kids in many countries around the world can go to public colleges and universities tuition free. Wages in many cases are higher. So there is a trade-off. But at the end of the day, I think that most people will believe they're going to be better off when their kids have educational opportunities without out-of-pocket expenses, when they have health care as a human right, when they have affordable housing, when they have decent retirement security. I think most Americans will understand that that is a good deal.
Yeah, here's my thing. It all sounds great, right? Like we're getting all this free stuff, and you and I both know nothing is free. Earlier, he talked about Finland. Let me tell you something about the Finland education system. Good education system, right? Pretty much there's very little foreign influence, so you don't have ESL students in certain areas. Everybody speaks the same language. They come to school much later too, by the way. We're talking about, getting kids opportunities to go to pre-K and preschool. They don't start school in Finland to 7, 8, 9 years old. You stay with the same teacher for most of your educational time, if not your entire educational time. There's no homework. There's no extra stuff. You start school later. There's no test. There's also no accountability, right? That sounds great. And by the way, at 16, school's optional. So the minute you get to 16, school's optional. You have to go to school. They tell you the things that they like, but they don't tell you all of the stories. But the question's like, how do we do this, right? Because you see, even when both parties have everything, they're sitting in the catbird seat as the president, right? Obama or Trump. They've got themselves the House, the Senate. They've got everything. You got to ask yourself, well, how does this happen, though? Because you don't get the things done. And what he's talking about is massive. We're not talking small. We're talking about free education, free housing, free this, that. They're throwing all kinds of stuff out there. How do you get to that point? I think that's a very fair question. How do you get there? Everybody will be excited to pay more taxes. Will they? Will everybody be more excited? I don't mind paying my fair share. But you want to get rid of health care and make it mandatory that I go on your thing? No, I want choice. I want to be able to feel like I control part of my destiny in life, and I don't think people understand that. But how do you get there? And this is it's Bernie.
The only way that real change ever takes place, Anderson, now and in the past, is when millions of people stand up and are prepared to fight for that. And if anybody tells you that they're going to bring about real change in this country, and they're going to sit down in Capitol Hill and they're going to go negotiate this and that, they're not being quite honest. Because you're going to have to take on Wall Street and all of these other powerful special interests.
Yeah, he's right. But we're talking about millions of people. That feels a little like, wait, hold on. Like marching, what are we doing here? I want to know this. Because the more you hear him, you start to realize he's talking about something here, kids.
And the only way that change happens whether it is the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the gay movement, the labor movement. The only way it happens is when people stand up and fight back. So what this campaign is about is bringing together a mass movement of people, and I'm very proud that we have over 1 million volunteers already.
So a mass movement of people. Mass movement of people. He wants people out in the streets. He wants, basically what he wants is a true revolution.
And that is why I talk about us, not me, in our campaign, why I talk about a political revolution. If you want to transform our energy system and you want to combat climate change, words are not good enough. We have to bring millions of people together to tell the fossil fuel industry they will not continue to destroy this planet.
Words are not enough. I'm just saying, we read into all the things that Trump says. You listen to that and you say to yourself, feels like a lot of people are taking to the street. They're demanding change. They're coming for you. Words are not enough. I'm just throwing it out there. He's not talking about, well, we need more taxes. He wants more control for the government. That's in the end. You can look at everybody else is throwing stuff out there because they think, there's a vocal minority that's on social media in the progressive side of politics that you have to placate, knowing full well none of this crap is ever going to happen. Not in the way that they want it to. Bernie doesn't want that. Bernie wants what he wants. He's always been this way. He's always been radicalized. And now he realizes he's even got to go bigger and bolder because other people are in his lane. And I don't think he's thrilled by that. So when I hear stuff like that, I know exactly what Bernie would love. Bernie would love government runs pretty much every aspect of everything. Not so much nationalizing everything, but making sure that the government is essentially your partner in a lot of stuff. Whether it's a silent partner or not, that remains to be seen. Definitely using regulations as a weapon. And it's frustrating for a lot of people because they look out there and say crony capitalism, this, that, and the other. And they say, yeah, Bernie's right. It's easy to sell that picture. But that picture gets you no choice for your health care. I'm okay with the public-private option. I think that's the way we should go. Again, there's a couple bills that have tried to work their way through the House where you would essentially have a chance to go public or private. You'd pay more in taxes, or you can stay on your health. No, he wants to get rid of that. He wants to transform because he thinks he can do it better. It's a little bit scarier than just, hey, I believe all these things because I have to virtue signal because of the Green New Deal and all this stuff, but in the end, none of it's going to happen. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. So Nevada is doing something I found very interesting, and it's about the weed.
The first state to ban employers from refusing to hire workers who fail marijuana tests. Now, that law goes into effect next year, but there are some exceptions.
That's right. And 13 Action News reporter Cynthia Maldonado spoke with the owner of one burger restaurant. And Cynthia, he says he really doesn't mind this change.
Nope, Todd, Tricia, he says marijuana is just as legal as alcohol, so why would he reject someone who is looking for a job? All he wants is a job to get done.
There you go. Right? So they're saying, hey, don't worry about it. You smoke a little weed, do it on your own time. Now that it's becoming legal in more and more places, whether it's medical or not. And I also think it's getting tougher and tougher to find candidates to work if you have to drug test them and they're coming back with medical marijuana or marijuana altogether. So it's interesting. I got no problem with it. Right? I got zero problem with this. I know a lot of people do. And look, I'm a fuddy-duddy in a lot of ways. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I've never done a drug in my life. I've never had a smoke in my life. I've never taken a drink in my life. Don't care if you do, as long as you're responsible about it. And the responsible, we can debate that all day because, as we all know, we're not always responsible.
Colin Fukunaga says he wouldn't toss out your job application if you tested positive for weed. He's the owner of Fuku Burger.
If marijuana is just as legal as alcohol and we are not required to screen for alcohol, then it makes no sense to screen for marijuana.
Fukunaga says weed is becoming part of the norm. All he wants is a responsible employee.
We treat our employees like adults. Like, you don't come to work high and don't come to work drunk. You do that in your own time.
There you go. I got no problem with that. What you do in your own time is totally fine as long as you don't hurt anybody else. Now, some insurance companies may have bigger issues with this, and that's going to be a bigger problem. But as this becomes more and more of a norm across the country, I think what you're going to find out is to do business in some of these places, you're going to have to be in a situation where you're going to have to accept the fact that, you know what, weed's legal here. So you have to deal with it.
Governor Steve Sisolak signed a bill into law that now prohibits most employers from testing prospective hires for marijuana.
It's a maturity thing. It's like, if you have to come to work drunk or high on marijuana, then I have a separate issue. It has nothing to do with pre-screening or testing.
There are exceptions. Firefighters, EMTs, construction workers, as well as any occupation that could affect people's safety are exempt. Alice Nakashima works at Fuku Burger. She says you shouldn't be judged for what you do on your free time.
I think this law is good because, shouldn't be judged on like that activity. It's about how they work and whether they interview well. As long as they get the job done, it should be whether or not they smoke or not.
There you go. Maybe you don't smoke. Maybe it's edibles, right? Or I will judge you, though, if you're a LARPer. Live action role play, you're probably going to get judged by me. Producer Phil, would you judge some LARPers?
Oh, no, I would never do that, Chad.
We totally do that. It's what we do. It's who we are. But I got zero problem with this. This is just growing up, right? It's just growing up. You want to go home and smoke, have a little bit edible and chill. I don't see any difference between you going home and having a couple glasses of wine. It's ridiculous. It's time to grow up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Of course, everybody talking today about Trump and what he said as he sat down and talked with, yes, that there guy, George Stephanopoulos. And of course, the sound bites just are rocking and rolling.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening.
No, nothing wrong with listening. Nothing wrong with listening. Honest, yeah, sometimes honest to the point where you're like, what? But sound bites gives fuel to the fire for a lot of people. And I think here, and this is something that I think that I want everybody to understand. Trump's biggest frustration with Russia for all of the things that have happened, his biggest frustration with Russia and this entire investigation was what? It was the fact that he felt like it delegitimized his presidency. When you say stuff like this, it adds more fuel to the fire, which is going to piss you off more. While you may be trolling people, if you win a second term, you're going to go right back through the same thing again. And if you wanted to distance yourself from that, you continue to pull yourself back into it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Father's Day is this Sunday. Is your dad a gadget guy? Yeah. Right? Your dad worry, maybe, about keeping the family safe? A little home security? Guess what? Something's amazing is out there for you. It's a no-brainer. It is Blink. It's incredible. Like, I'm serious. These indoor cameras. So I've got them for my lizards as well as outdoor cameras, right? So I got indoor, outdoor cameras. They're so easy to set up. I set them up. I'm not a gadget guy. I can use gadgets. I just don't know how to set them up very well. And it frustrates me. Sets up so fast. So fast. These indoor, outdoor cameras are amazing. Motion activated. You got a smartphone app. You can see what your lizards are doing and what they're not doing. If you have lizards, you see what your dog is doing. It's like your dog partying when you're not there. Right? See what the kids are doing. There's a two-way talk feature. It's just incredible. Home security is so inexpensive. There's no subscriptions. There's none of that stuff. It sets up in minutes, wire-free, couple AA batteries. I'm telling you, Dad is going to go, yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. Now, chance to get him is right now. 20% off Blink indoor camera systems. What are you waiting for? Home security just got easier. Score the perfect Father's Day gift at blinkprotect.com/Benson. 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 Your dad's going to love it. Blink cameras are also available at Amazon and at Best Buy. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. It's the Chad Benson Show.
No, deep doo-doo? Yeah, the Chad Benson Show.
Say it ain't toe.
My name is Captain Al Sider at the Sourdough Saloon in downtown Dawson City. But I do have a special talent for putting a severed human toe in people's drinks. It started by this man, Captain Dick Stevenson. It became a way for people who would visit Dawson to become an honorary sourdough. It's not mandatory, but hey, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you go there to have a drink, right? And what they do, you had a guy who ran and like an Ironman or triathlon. He got frostbite. It's his territory in Canada, and he lost his toe. And so he sent it to them. And what they do, and I guess they take severed toes from people. It's all nasty looking and crunkled, and they put it in a drink. So it's like drinking the worm, but you're drinking somebody's toes right there. People will do anything, right? You hand them something and an opportunity to go viral, and they'll do just about anything. I'm just pointing that out. They will. They'll try something. A weather guy named Joe Crane, who's been on a station for a very long time, got angry last week and talked about the red code red level warnings that he had to give.
Code Red was created by likely a journalism school graduate. That being said, I'm a journalism school graduate, so it's not perfect. A lot of people not very happy with this over the last few months since we've implemented it on Storm Team 20. That's evident by the thousands of comments on social media, letters to the editor, frequent calls to local talk radio shows. We've heard you. And yes, we realize you have some very strong and passionate views about it.
Now, given his weathercast talking about this, I think he's been on the air 15 years. He's no longer on the air because he was upset about the fact that he thinks it's silly that, this is his job and he's overdoing it, and was not happy about it, took to the airwaves, and he wasn't really like, this is the dumbest thing ever. But he talked about it and shared his concerns with it. And next day, he's off the air and never back again. Whew. Tough world out there. Goodness me. How dare you say something like that? Joe Crane, we wish you all the best in the weather world. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers information on the opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
When you're trying to distance yourself and show that your president and your presidency and your campaign, that you're the legitimate president, even though half the country wants to put an asterisk by your name because they feel the only reason you won is because of Russia, and then you say something like this, the optics aren't good, and we live in a world of optics. And then you add more fuel to the fire, and you continue to give people the asterisks to put next to your name.
I know of no one
absolutely no one on either side of the aisle in any political party who would take information offered by a foreign government, dirt on an opponent.
Well, the one thing about Trump is he's honest. Dick Blumenthal right there, Democrat, Connecticut, is lying. Because everybody would. If you had the chance. Doesn't mean you're not going to contact the FBI, because you absolutely should, right? But let's be real. You're going to look through all of the stuff, right? You're going to take the meeting. No, Chad, they're all above board. Really? Really? Come on now. Come on now. I was born at night, but not last night.
I can't speak for the president. I can only speak for me. If a foreign agent approached me with anything, including but not limited to dirt on my opponent, I'd call the FBI. And I think most people would, and frankly, I think the president would.
You know what's funny is you all hear them say, I'd call the FBI. Yeah, they probably all would. Especially now. Maybe not 24 months ago, 36 months ago, but especially now. But you know what they all say? Call the FBI. I never heard anybody say, I would never use any of it. But it's what he said is ridiculous. It is. But at least he's honest. People will show you who they are. You know who Trump is, right? And I think in Trump's mind, he feels like it's not a crime. It's not a crime. I'm not doing anything wrong, right? I'm not doing anything wrong. It's not a crime. And you sit back and you're like, well, you know what? He believes this. He does. People will show you who they are. They will. They will show you exactly who they are. And Trump is Trump. What he says is what he's thinking. What politicians normally say is what you want to hear. That's why Trump's people love him. They do. They absolutely love him. Because he'll come out and just be Trump. This is what you get. Dennis Miller said it. His inside voice and his outside voice are best friends. They never argue. They never fight. And they let everything roll. Where Hillary's inside voice and outside voice haven't even met for a cup of coffee. You know who he is. You get what you get. Doesn't mean you have to like it. Not a fan of what he did. Not a fan of what he said. There's a lot of things I don't like about the way that he goes about things. But I look at this from, if you're trying to move us far away from the scandal, whether it's a witch hunt or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, whatever you deem it, if you're trying to put yourself into a situation where you're going into the next election and you're going to win the next election and you win it and you want that asterisk to be removed and say, I beat whoever you put in front of me, I beat them, I won, there was no funny business, you've now made sure that if you do win, that thing's going right back up there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. The debate yesterday about the census and the question and should there be a question and shouldn't there be a question, and it's, you know, lots of passions. You got the AOC, she had passion. You had Tlaib, who had passion. And remember, in this day and age, you just have to mention racism, any kind of ism, and people were like, and then you paint the darkest picture of all, and away you go, because that's what it is about in so many ways.
When I think about Supreme Court decisions, with this, I think about Dred Scott. There is a reason that our government is designed the way that it is, and it is because it is designed to acknowledge the flawed human nature in our grand experiment of self-governance. Unspeakable horrors have been executed by the United States in the name of citizenship, in the name of determining who is a citizen.
She's not done.
where the Supreme Court upheld Japanese internment regardless of the citizenship status of Japanese Americans. And how did that start? It started with the United States Census. Broke the law and divulged information on zip codes where Japanese Americans were concentrated. And that information was used to intern American citizens and non-American citizens alike.
Yeah, and that was a bad look. It was a bad thing we did. We all agree. We have a problem with illegal immigration in this country. And we also have a problem with, I think, states and cities allowing people to stay there, knowing that they're adding to the body count, if you will, the population count, which is going to help them in securing more seats and getting more federal funds. I think we need to know and get a real understanding. And I don't think it's wrong. And there are going to be people that are going to answer it anyways. People that are citizens who don't want to answer the damn thing. You have no right to know anything. It's not perfection. But all you have to do is go to the worst possible scenario in the history of our country so you can shout it out. And then again, it's all about race, race, race.
The majority of our districts want to see the memo. We want to know what this political appointee's true intent was. Is it really about citizenship? No. It's about reducing the number of people of color in this country being counted in the census. That's exactly what it's about. Because you want to cheat. He wants to cheat, Mr. Chairman.
It's about reducing the people of color. It's always about something like that. Why can't we have an accurate? I mean, the whole point of doing this is so we have an accurate head count. Shouldn't we know how many people are here illegally? Shouldn't we know how many people are here as residents? Shouldn't we know? I mean, shouldn't we? Shouldn't we have a nice? I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And people are like, well, again, why is this important? Federal dollars, representation in Congress, things that like those things matter. And when you've got a divided country, 1 or 2 seats on either side could really be something important. And if you got over the hump, if you will, because you were able to have an extra amount of people, California, whatever, who knows how many people, and you got more seats that could represent you in Washington, and that helps you even more, or less seats, because the reality is while you have X amount of people, only a certain amount are actual citizens. Yeah, I think we do have a right. But it's illegal, Jed. It's wrong. It's just evil. It's bad. And you're a racist. And you say, this is why you can't have a conversation. This is why you can't have a conversation, because that's where it goes to immediately. That's it goes right there. It's a bunch of crap. You know it, and I know it. Well, what are you afraid of? That's my thing. What are you afraid of? I'll ask the same thing. What are people afraid of? On both sides of it. Let's get it all out there. But this is what politics looks like in this day and age. It's ugly. It is ugly. I was telling producer Anthony earlier, because I was listening, I watched Kennedy's about the only show I watch. And she was talking about Justin Amash last night, and he's over the two-party system. And if you guys know who Justin Amash is, he is the Michigan Republican who is for impeachment of Trump. And my issue is, look, I don't like the way he's gone about doing things, and you know we can debate this till the cows come home. But I'm with him we're over the two-party system. Doesn't get anything done. This is what our founding fathers, I think, thought was going to happen. And we've got now, 330 million people. We've got a ton of different ideas. And right now what we have is we have 4 parties masquerading as 2 parties. On the Democrats, you've got the centrist, level-headed. Then you've got the progressives. You've got the centrist, kind of conservatives, and then you've got the Trump sphere on the right. So it's crazy what we have. It is. I'd love to see a third party. I'd love to see a third, fourth, fifth party come in. Have coalitions. Have to build stuff to get done. Wouldn't that be great to see stuff actually done? To see stuff actually put out there where we get stuff done in a real way, where we've got to come together. It's never going to be perfect. But I think where we're at now is absolutely broken, and it's not getting any better anytime soon. It's just not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Yesterday, they sat down and they had a big hearing on deep fakes. I'm going to touch on that because you don't know what deep fakes are. Not only are they coming, they are here. But how much do we need to worry about that comparatively to China and Russia and this, that, and the other? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Every day, thousands of dogs are being euthanized. At the same time, we lose 20 veterans a day to suicide. Wounded Paw Project is here to help. They connect our furry best friends with our nation's heroes. They go into shelters that are kill shelters, facilities. They rescue dogs that are otherwise on borrowed time. Train them to be sheltered dogs, and then get them to our veterans, first responders, and their families. They need your help big time. They do. They do. They need your car, truck, RV, even boat. So you got a car that you're not using, a boat that's not, car's not even running, whatever it is. RV, and you're like, we're never going to use it. Storage. And you say to yourself, well, rather than store it, why don't I get rid of it and take a nice tax-deductible gift and help? And that's what Wounded Paw does. Check them out at woundedpawproject.org. See how you can be helped. Get a nice tax-deductible gift. They also accept cash. They're an amazing organization, and what they're doing is literally saving a paw and saving a life. Woundedpawproject.org, or go to 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, where we make no apologies, although we do say a few Hail Marys and Our Fathers now and then. Amen.
For all the talk of foreign interference and all of these things, deep fakes are something else you're going to have to look out for. What are deep fakes? What do you mean? Who could they affect? Oh, Lord.
And it's likely to get much worse before it gets much better. Yet we have to continue to do what we can. We need to get the tools and the processes in the hands of individuals rather than relying completely on the government or on social media platforms to police content.
Yes, deep fakes. Everybody's got all hands on deck. They are videos that look like the person, Trump, Obama, whoever it is, a star, this, that, it doesn't matter who it is. And you could make that person essentially say anything you want. Oh, what? Yeah. In fact, not only are we worrying about deepfakes and why all this is going on, now Stanford has figured out a way, that's a university for those of you not knowing, a way to essentially use like the word, and computer keyboard to copy and paste words into people's mouths. That's how insane this thing is. That's how insane this is. And it's coming. And as we worry about all the other things and the spreading of lies and all of these kind of things that are going to happen and that have been happening through memes and other things, this is a whole nother world that we're going to have to deal with big time. But I also say that the stuff that's going to be spread is going to be spread amongst people who already believe this stuff. And even if they spread it to the other side and vice versa, their side's not going to bite into it because we already have our beliefs.
We tend to believe what our eyes and ears are telling us. And we also tend to believe and tend to share information that confirms our biases.
There we go. We tend to believe. Doesn't mean we always do, but we tend to believe. So be prepared in the because it's here now. It's not as refined as it's going to be. But in the coming months and year, what you're going to see is you have to make sure that you come at everything, especially stuff that you think is so wild, with a skeptical eye. Because there's some things out there that are going to be coming that you're going to say, did you hear what so-and-so said? Only to find out he or she didn't really said that. But by then, it had spread like wildfire, and then it becomes part of of what I call the environmental truth and not the actual truth. Because the environment itself, the viral environment, believes it to be so. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. Last night I was laughing. A baseball game the other day. A announcer, we touched on it briefly, talking about why bats don't break anymore and, and why home runs are going out. And wait till you hear what he says at the end of this, why he believes home runs are going out at a high rate of speed.
Every once in a while, one will be on the ground past the pitcher, but not the violent helicopter spear thing that we saw for a couple of years anymore. And I think the bats plus the balls, plus launch angles, plus pitchers throwing hard, plus global warming is why there's so many home runs.
No, global warming's not a pitcher who's not very good or a hitter. Global warming is why that there are more home runs. Or guys are bigger, faster, stronger. They're throwing the ball harder, and everybody's swinging for the fences. Maybe the ball is wound tighter and the stadiums are smaller. It's always something. Now it's global warming. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. Keanu Reeves is doing something that people on the internet love. But is there more to it? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Oh, yeah, baby. Get ready. Coming to a town near you. Live tour, 100 locations across U.S. and Canada. That is so awesome. You know what'd be great? It's like Adam Lambert toured with him.
I'd go see that.
I would too. That'd be hilarious. A little Elton John with him. Oh, my Lord. How obnoxious is that? Now that's going to be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. You're welcome. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Mike Pompeo just spoke. Something happened today that you should be aware of. Tankers were attacked in the Gulf of Hormuz, and we think we know who did it.
This assessment is based on intelligence, the weapons used, the level of expertise needed to execute the operation, recent similar Iranian attacks on shipping, and the fact that no proxy group operating in the area has the resources and proficiency to act with such a high degree of sophistication.
Translation: we know Iran did it because it's the torpedo has Iran written on it. All of the groups around there don't have the cash and or the artillery to pull these things off. Another reason why the debate is going to rage of what do we do with Saudi Arabia, who are, Trump now is going to circumvent, because there's a way for him to do that, to sign a deal to sell God knows how many billions of dollars of weapons, supposedly 150 billion over 10 years, but that will change, as we all know, to Saudi Arabia, a country that has, how should we say this? Not a good track record on human rights, but there are quasi-friend in the Middle East where we don't have a lot of friends, and they're the friend with some power. And I'm not talking about Israel, but their enemy is Iran. So what do we do? Do we not sell it to them because they're bad people and hope that somebody else can rise up and take on them, watch them go buy weapons from China, who then in turn starts to get more of a foothold in the Middle East, and all of a sudden you've got weapons coming there from China. They're getting a bigger foothold. They're spreading their tentacles. Who knows what will Iran do? It is nobody wins, but it is ugly. I said it earlier. It's like you're choosing the difference between, do you want to be guillotined or do you want a poison pill? Either way, it's happening. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So the internet is loving Keanu Reeves and what he's doing. And last night they were talking about it. D. Lemon and Cuomo. D. Lemon. Oh, my God. When he says that, you're just like, dude, you're awful.
Keanu Reeves, he's been a star for decades, but now the internet has found a new reason to put him in the spotlight. He's posing with women without actually touching them. The first fan to point it out joked, quote, Keanu ain't taking no chances, a likely reference to the Me Too movement, kind of, although that shouldn't be seen as a negative thing inherently. D. Lemon, is this about Reeves being hyper PC? Is he afraid of Me Too? Or is he just being respectful?
Now, that's the question he asked Don Lemon. And I think he was a bit shocked.
I think it's the first. I think it's, it's tough to say, but I do think that there are people who will approach you and set you up or realize later that they can get some money from you or harm your career. And I think that he's being careful. I worry about it. You don't?
Oh, wait, what? Yeah. I mean, we had a debate last year where people lost their jobs, had to resign from positions because of accusations that were 20, 30 years old over pictures, over things like, and you're just like, what? So, yeah, I see it. I see it. And it's so funny because you can hear him just like, yeah, I think it's the first. And I worry about it. Listen to his response.
I do worry about people doing things that are wrong. I don't worry about Me Too because I see Me Too as a good thing. You know, I mean, I know you do also. The idea of the reason we needed it, the reason you need political correctness in general.
I'm not talking about the real allegations.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is we need those things because for too long things have gone unanswered and people have been silenced and victimized. But you do have the opposite extreme of that as people seeing it as an opportunity.
Yeah. And again, Keanu's just standing there like shoulder to shoulder to people. It's not a big deal. But in this day and age, I get why people worry. Absolutely. And, you know, we've talked about this a couple times where men no longer want to mentor women in the workplace out of fear of what may happen. And it is rising, not just steadily, like number one with a bullet the way it's heading. It used to be a situation where they didn't want to mentor women for a myriad of reasons, but it was very small. It was like 8, 10, 12, 14%. It's now, what, 66%? Don't want to mentor? And I will tell you this. If you're going to go anywhere in your life in a big business and you're going to get somewhere, I don't care whether you're starting a business, it doesn't even, you need a mentor. You do. Mentors are incredible. I have one. Absolutely, I do. And what he does, how he has helped me, how he has shaped, how he has shown me things is incredible. But I also work with some people who have no problem mentoring, but they will not mentor women. And the reason is I don't want to ever be put into a situation where, because it only takes one accusation. And that's not good. And I think Sheryl Sandberg, who runs Facebook, came out and said, this is not a good look. This is not a good thing. Well, it's gotten to that position, and people are playing it better safe than sorry, and stars in particular.
I commend him because what he's doing is lowering the possibility of a false allegation, which which would diminish the importance of the real allegations, the people who come forward with legitimate allegations.
That's
so
good. Good take.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good thing that he's doing, whether he's doing it because he doesn't like to touch people or he doesn't want to be part of that, because even just an allegation can be career ending.
Absolutely. Just an allegation. Was it Aziz Ansari went on a date that didn't go well? For somebody who sought him out to go on a date, it didn't go the way that she wanted it to do. And she just alluded that maybe something was happening that was untoward in her mind. And the backlash was tremendous. So, yeah. And you know what you're going to find more and more? People are going to say, nope, no pictures. Nope, no pictures. It's going to be back to autograph. You want an autograph or something? That's one thing. No pictures. I want any part of this. And I don't blame people for that. I don't blame anybody for that. Just like for me, people say, you know, would you mentor? I'd have to know the person really well if it was a girl. I would. A young woman. I really would have to know that person. There's got to be a trust side situation, if that makes sense. But even at that point in time, it's a tough thing, and it's sad that we've gotten to that point because there were so many bad actors for so very long that got away with so many things that we're at the point now where guys are just like, never mind. And that's not good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Saggy or not saggy? That is the question.
Shreveport, Louisiana was one of the first cities to mandate that pants be pulled up above the waistband. Supporters insisted that it wasn't about race, but about public decency. Lester Smith, who has two sons, says it hasn't worked out that way.
I don't care how you slice it or dice it. It affects black people. Black boys.
The Shreveport Police Department says that in 12 years of enforcement, 96% of those ticketed for sagging pants were black men. Now,
Ordinance 7 amends Chapter 50 of the Code by
Shreveport has repealed its ordinance on sagging.
Yeah, let's be real. 96%, that's a telling thing. Right? That's telling. And culture thing. Absolutely it is. It's you should want to pull your pants up, right? Like, I don't want to see it. Well, it's just, we were talking about this earlier. It's like, my God, we call the police on a mother that's breastfeeding and we fight over, saggy pants. I see it all the time. I see people. It's weird, too. I don't know if you see this out there, Producer Phil. You'll have a person who's wearing jeans who underneath the jeans has jogging pants or sweatpants. Then they have their boxers. And you can see all three of them in like layers.
I don't understand it.
I don't understand. First of all, it's really hot, right? Like that's a lot of stuff. But, yeah, that's a tough thing. It is. And I could see how you could say, hey, this is a race thing right here. This is a race thing. This is targeted at one singular group of people. There you go. They got rid of it. I understand why you say, hey, you know what? We should have respect. You should put your pants up. You should do these kind of. We don't need to see it. But then you're like 96%. You look at those numbers. You're like, that's not a good look. That isn't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. My Pillow slept amazing last night. In fact, I got my little. I will tell you right now. I slept 7 hours last night, 3 minutes, according to my little giggly bopper here. 7 hours and 3 minutes. And it was solid, too. I was out like a light. Loved it. Why? My MyPillow. That's the thing I've changed, is the MyPillow. Nothing else, right? Work a lot, work hard, continue to do stuff. But I don't have 28 pillows on the bed. I have a pillow, and it's my pillow. And they're doing something for my listeners that is amazing. They've never done this before. 2 premium MyPillows, $34.99 per pillow, less than $70 for 2 of them. Same amazing pillow, 10-year warranty, made in the USA, machine washable and dryable cotton. Oh, by the way, 60-day money-back guarantee. Boom. Blow your mind? Oh, yeah, it should. What are you waiting for? You've got nothing to lose. Free shipping as well. Go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. Get 2 premium MyPillows for $69.98. That's less than $70. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975. Make sure you use that promo code Benson. Hurry, it's not going to last forever, and you got a 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Almost half of parents give their kids an allowance, but a growing number don't pay it in cash, opting instead for prepaid debit cards, or they use mobile payment systems like Venmo.
We need to teach kids about credit cards, debit cards, mobile payments.
Creditcards.com's Ted Rossman says it's a good move.
It's easy to swipe a card, but you got to teach kids that there's real money behind that.
He likes to load allowances on cards that are created just for kids, and he says these are a few that you should check out.
Greenlight, Current, and Go Henry.
Yeah. Jack gets an allowance. That's good. He gets an allowance. And when I was a kid, did you ever get an allowance, producer Phil? Because we're about the same age. What was your allowance? What was that?
Oh, Lord. I think it was like $5.
Yeah, that's big, man. Like, you could go to a movie on that. It's like $5. Yeah, the matinee's only $2.25, and it's only 50 cents for Coke. You're like, when did you live? Back in the day when we had milkmen. But to load, like, that's where we are now. It's like, yeah, when we were kids, we used to get cash. Now you get loaded onto your own card. No, I like the cash thing for kids because I want kids to learn, like my brothers and sisters, everybody, that there is real money behind that. Because I think if you had to spend cash, like when you have cash in your pocket, comparatively to swiping, it's easy to see it not come out, right? Just swipe and go. Where if you've got to take real money out, it's harder because you're like, it's tangible. And you know it is. And I think it's good that the kids learn both. You should teach them both. That's for damn sure. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter all day. For the next coming forever, you will hear this.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
I think it would. I don't know. So you're going to hear that. It's going to be turned into something massive. If the thought process in his mind was, I am, been fighting this Russia thing. I've got over the Mueller report. We could talk about obstruction. They can battle this. But I got over the Mueller report. That asterisk right there should be removed from whether or not I'm a legitimate president for some out there, which it's never going to be. But for some, maybe, if they believe the Mueller report. But now what you've done is you've given people opportunity and ammo to say, even if you win the next one, there's going to be a suspicion. And Lord knows they're probably trying to figure out, does he have a hotel in Norway? Are there people that are in Norway that are friends of his? Because they're looking for something else. And you've given it to them. You may have been speaking the truth 100% on this. Just because you can doesn't always mean you should. You don't have to answer every single question. You don't. But he did. And he gives access that is pretty damn amazing. Even George Stephanopoulos says, I was totally shocked. I worked in the White House, and the access he gave us was unbelievable. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. Your useless fact of the day. In your lifetime, it's your lifetime, it's my lifetime, you will produce enough saliva to fill 2+ swimming pools. Think about that for a second. Oh, yeah. Want to say something else today, right? My man Jack, my boy, 9 years ago today. God, it's crazy. 9 years ago today, my little dude was born. Changed my life. No matter what I do, the arguments we have, the things we talk about, all of this stuff means nothing, and you know that better than anybody. being a parent is the best thing I will ever, ever, ever do. It is incredible. Happy birthday, big man Jack. 9 years old. 1 year left before you get the double digit. They're going to give you another digit next year. What? Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you Friday. It's right there as always. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.